Hello, this is Teacher Budur, and today we'll talk about accounting for bad debts or allowance method. Companies may offer credit sales or account receivable. They will face the estimation of losing the repayment of their money. So in case of taking this estimating or the loss of the money, they should face it with something called allowance. Or in some cases we call it provision. So allowance or provision is a portion of the credit sales or account receivable that the company assumed that their clients or their customers will not pay it back. Okay, so for raising this allowance, we assume that the credit sales or the account receivable for our company is almost BD 120,000. Okay, and the allowance or the provision is 10% of this amount, so it will be 12,000 BD. So how to record this allowance? First, the first entry is recording the allowance, which is for today's date. Let's say it's 29th March. Okay. Bad debt expenses debited with the same amount of the expected allowance, which will not be paid back, and then the credit will be for allowance for doubtful debts. 12,000. What is the allowance for doubtful debts? The allowance for doubtful debts are the amounts that the company assume that the customers will not pay from the account receivable or from the credit sales. So, and let's say after a month from now, so number 2, let's say it's the 29th April, one of our clients called Ahmed, he has a credit sales balance of 1,000 with us. This one for Ahmed. And Ahmed cannot pay his balance, or he will not pay his balance because of some reasons. So what shall we do? We debit the allowance for doubtful debts, allowance debts with Ahmed's balance 10,000. What does it mean? It means that we will reduce the amount of the provision. We will take the uncollectible amount from the provision, 1,000, and then we'll credit what? Account receivable Ahmed with 1,000, or credit sales Ahmed. Okay, then in future time, let's say after 2 months from the write-off, Ahmed decided to pay 200 from his balance. So he makes some profit and he decided to pay us 200. Now 2 months to 29 29th June. First we have to reverse this entry, so it will be account receivable Ahmed. We say that he will pay only 200, and then this will be credit allowance for doubtful debts 200, and then we have to collect the money from the account receivable, the collection, so it will be for the same date, cash 200 and account receivable Ahmed will be 200, and this is what we call it recovery. Okay, it's exactly the same way as the direct write-off when we used bad debt expense directly, but the tiny difference is that we make a provision for the debts that they may not paid. The client will not pay them, so it's called allowance for doubtful debts. So we didn't write off the amount directly from the bad debt expense. So we have allowance. This allowance, we reduce the account receivable from it, and then when we get the recovery, we reverse this entry. Okay, and then we collect the cash from the account receivable, and that's it. And this is the allowance method.